What's up guys, it's me, Coach Mills here, and today we're going to be breaking down the Valorant new tier list that breaks down all the best and worst guns in the game. We're pleased to announce today's video sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit for a reason. It's easy, customizable, and super affordable. You can pre-portion and optimize your meals just the way you like them and have it delivered to your doorstep. It's cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% cheaper than takeout. Guys, if you want to be on the top of your game and get better at Valorant, you need to take care of your body, and HelloFresh's ingredients travel from the farm to you in less than a week, and they got amazing, absolutely delicious seasonal recipes that you can choose from. So what are you waiting for? Try HelloFresh today. Go ahead and click our link below to get that special limited discount and free shipping. Now we're going to kick things off with the C tier. These are weapons that can be useful in the right circumstance, but there are either weapons that are just better at doing what these weapons do for a cheaper price, or these weapons are too expensive to justify buying them. And there's three: the Stinger, the Odin, and the Bucky. Now these Stinger nerfs are pretty severe, putting the Stinger really far behind a lot of its competitors in that price point. The Stinger is now more expensive than the Sheriff, the same price as the Marshal, and with the weapon nerf added to the increase in cost, it makes it really hard to justify buying this weapon unless you're a very specific character that can get in close and use this to try to get a guaranteed kill. But realistically, I think that other weapons would be better most of the time. Now, the Odin is in this tier simply because of its price. While the Odin isn't a weak weapon, oftentimes you would have to be stomping the enemy team to have enough money to justify blowing it on buying the Odin. And from an economic point of view, there's no guaranteed value that is created from buying this over a Phantom or a Vandal, and the Odin scales off as you climb the tiers of rank. So all in all, I think this gun is fairly mid, and C tier is right where it belongs. And then the Bucky is a fairly underpowered shotgun. Oftentimes, you're only going to be able to kill one person without getting traded out, and it's more expensive than something like the Shorty and a lot of other guns in that price point. I think that the Bucky is still fairly bad compared to other shotguns in the game and other weapons at that price. Now, next up, we do got to talk about that B tier, and there are a lot of guns in the B tier that are here because they're good in the right situations, but they aren't mainstays of the meta. Like, they are not played in every single round or even every single game, but they're still powerful in the right circumstance. First off, let's talk about the two shotguns, the Judge and the Shorty. The Judge has the capability to kill multiple opponents that don't properly respect you and flush you out with utility. So of course, the less disciplined the opponents are, or if you're holding an angle that opponents can't actually clear, like if they're rotating to an angle with you holding a Judge, then you could just become an absolute menace and get multiple kills and just kind of take over with the Judge. As far as the Shorty is concerned, the Shorty is just so damn cheap for the potential for you to trade up in cost so easily. You hold inside of a smoke around the corner, an enemy pushes you when you use an operator and they think that they're safe. Doesn't matter. The Shorty smacks them down and you get to trade up for a better gun most of the time. Very powerful for so cheap. Now, let's talk about some of the rifles that you could use in this tier, Bulldog and Guardian being specific ones. While Breeze was definitely the Guardian's best map, it did hurt the Guardian quite a bit being removed from the map pool. Guardian is still phenomenal, has the highest first shot accuracy out of both the other top rifles in the game, has a very, very strong use case with characters that can hold a long effective range, or they can dash away like Jet hypothetically. And I think that a lot of people sleep on this gun because it's not the easiest to use, but it's so damn powerful. So don't sleep on the Guardian. And the Bulldog is a great weapon to buy up to if you have enough money to on that second round. After you win pistol round, if you go up and buy up to a Bulldog, it definitely converts better into that third round up against Phantoms and Vandals. So Bulldog is just a really versatile weapon that if you have disciplined crosshair placement, you're still going to be able to get a ton of value even up against rifles with it. Now, the last two weapons we got to talk about is first, the Frenzy. Really powerful gun that can be great for run and gun strategies, and especially if you're playing to just trade your teammates. Frenzy almost guarantees you a trade on those pistol rounds, and yeah, it's really powerful for that reason. Only its cost is kind of the limiting factor here. If it was only 50 credits cheaper, then you could buy it with light shield and it would just be a menace like it has been in the past. But at 450, it's still really strong. It's just not going to completely take over that pistol round because you do have to make sacrifices for it. And then the Ares is a really flexible weapon to play on some defense-sided areas where you can get wallbang value. You see this typically with Sova. Wallbanging places on Haven and Ascent, and I do think that the Ares is also a weapon that scales up pretty decently as you go up against better guns because it has a power that the other guns just don't have. I think the Ares is pretty good, and that's the reason it's at the top of the B tier. Now, moving on to the A tier, these are weapons that are going to legitimately see play in every single game and oftentimes multiple rounds in said game. First off, let's talk about the Spectre. The Spectre is just great. It's a very reliable second round buy. It's going to be able to get a good and consistent amount of value every single time you play with it. And while it doesn't have as high of peaks as the rifles, it's actually more consistent at doing damage, not getting kills, but doing damage. This means that this gun is actually better than even the rifles at killing people that are like running and gunning you or trying to use shotguns hypothetically, because you have a huge magazine, you're not likely to miss, there's low recoil, and yeah, the Spectre is actually really, really strong, and it's still strong after all this time. Next up is the Ghost Pistol, a weapon that some amount of your team is gonna buy on that pistol round, while Armor plus Classic is very strong on some characters, especially if you're someone that wants to peek longer sight lines, or if you have some sort of reward for getting kills, like Reyna hypothetically. Ghost becomes really, really deadly, and I think that also characters like Jett can abuse it pretty well because they get multiple peaks at long sight lines. Now, we do gotta talk about the Marshal. Marshal is still really, really strong. Of course, one of its best maps, Breeze, did get removed, but still, Marshal is incredibly powerful on maps like Pearl, on defense, and honestly, any long sightline that you can hold, you can get value on the Marshal. And it's one of those weapons that can greatly change around or turn around where on paper you shouldn't really win because Marshals can just get a couple of kills out of nowhere. And if the opponents are forced to rotate off, then you get to go and take their guns, which is just really, really strong. I think that Marshal's biggest problem or its biggest limiting factor is just your mechanical skill and the practice that you put into it. But if you do, you could pop off with this gun. And then last up at the top of the A tier is the Sheriff. One of the best weapons to buy when you're saving, one of the best weapons to just buy up against rifles as an eco buy, because with disciplined crosshair placement and up against opponents that are also disciplined holding and peeking angles, the Sheriff can just one-tap them and get some amazing kills. And the clutch potential of this weapon is unlike anything else. So yeah, Sheriff is going to be at the top of the A tier. Now, let's move on to the S tier. These are going to be the best weapons in the game, either due to how they completely warp the meta around them or their consistency of use. And at the bottom of the S tier, we have the Operator. Now, the Operator isn't being quite as dominant as it was before in the hands of Chamber, with Chamber leaving the meta, but the Operator is still very strong. And when teams have the money to spend, they are often buying that Operator. Operator is just really good at locking down complete sight lines. You can play very greedy in a team setting by sending one person to hold down an angle with an Operator and have your team kind of hold the other side of the map more aggressively and invest more resources to that side. And of course, if opponents don't play properly around an Operator, then you're just gonna kill them. You're gonna get a lot of free kills with this gun, and characters like Jett can get away safely after the fact. Operator is still fantastic. You still have to respect it, and it still dominates when opponents have them. Now, next up, we do gotta talk about that classic pistol, because classics are awesome, and they're very, very strong. Not only can you just one-tap people in close range, but it's just a gun that you always have with you, and it's really, really strong at even run and gunning and jump, right-clicking, and yeah, the Classic is fantastic. It's free, and yeah, clutches with the Classic feel really, really good. Now, last but certainly not least, we gotta talk about the Phantom versus the Vandal, and according to pick rate at Pro Play, the Vandal does eke it out, but it is close. The Phantom is gonna be better typically on characters that can utilize it the best, which would normally be controllers that want to spray through their own smoke. Like a Viper player is way more likely to use the Phantom, and that is true for Omen and Brim and characters like that, because the tracer round is the biggest thing there, where you don't want to give away your position when you're spraying through smokes. But a lot of players will really value that one-tap capability with the Vandal. At least at the pro level, the Vandal is very, very strong and preferred, but I think that especially as we go down the ranks, the Phantom becomes better and better because of its bigger bag. It's easier to control the recoil, and most of the time, you're not going to be getting that one tap, and the person living, you're going to get that one tap. And even if they, you know, take 140 to the head, you're going to be able to finish them off. And I think that many people just need to utilize the spray of the Phantom a bit more. It's a bit unforgiving and you don't have to tap nearly as much. But yeah, it's going to be most often either dependent on map or dependent on agent, which of these is going to be best for you. But there's so much personal preference in there. You can always be a Phantom player and climb all the way to rank 1, and a Vandal player and climb all the way to rank 1. So at the end of the day, it's your choice. It doesn't really matter which one you prefer over these two weapons. It just matters how you use it. Smash that like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.